Time management. Hot topic. Important topic. I've gone to dozens of workshops and seminars, and I've taught dozens of myself. I've got certification in time management. Yet, all the advice in the world may work a little here or a little there. And the thing that we've noticed over the 40 years of working with clients and companies on time management is that it's almost an illusion. It's like the Holy Grail. We're looking for something, a magic bullet that fits all. And that's just not practical. We got to get real about the reality of time. And so we're going to offer these short little intros and excerpts from one of our Time Master series. And if you'd like the whole thing, contact us at the email address at the end, and we'll get in touch with you on how to work that out. But the one thing we will say is adaptability and flexibility seems to be the most important aspect of dealing with time. Managing time is like trying to hold back the wind. You don't have a lot of control over it sometimes. I was hard pressed to get a project done, stepped out into my garage to get ready to leave, and noticed the back of my window had been blown out. How that happened, I'm not sure. But it did happen, and it did impact my time management and my schedule. So what was the next thing I had to do? Well, there was that recovery and the adaptability and the flexibility to make the best out of the situation that I could not control. So one of the things about reality of time is there are things outside your ability to control and manage. That's just the reality of it. So take that into consideration whenever you're putting plans, blocking time, scheduling, or trying to manage time. There are interruptions that are beyond our control, and management needs to realize that their employees are faced with the same thing. We can't always control the next 60 seconds, the next 30 minutes, or whatever amount of time ahead. Things do change. As we're all learning right now, who would have thought that we'd have to adapt like we have, since we've all been exposed to the new concerns of keeping everyone safe in a world environment. Well, anyways, let's get on to an excerpt out of our program. This is our Time Master, and one of the things is there are rules of time, and time does rule. And we're not going to go into the basics with you today, but there are some things that you have to understand about time and the rules that apply with time, or you're going to be a very frustrated person. You're probably not going to be a happy camper when it comes to working with your team or with your employees or with others. So we usually look at, there are these rules that concern time. We're not going to go into those today. And we are going to state that few manage time. Really, if we really are honest, most of us don't manage time as well as we'd like. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need for these courses, would there? And time usually manages us. So we will talk about those things throughout our regular series, but we want you to be aware of those facets as we go through this. Hopefully you'll get an idea when we look at the problem with Philip. I was working after school at a grocery store for many years, and I'd worked my way up, all the way up into an assistant manager training position. I had a employee. He wasn't my fastest stalker, and he wasn't highly motivated, but he wasn't a bad guy. He was pretty good, and if you asked him to get something done, he usually would do it. Unfortunately for Philip, he had the cookie aisle, and at that time that was right up front by the management's office, so they could see whether the cookies were getting up on time. And he had a cart, is what we call the six-wheeler, that sat there for days without really going down. And he had a pallet in the back. So the the manager said, if Philip doesn't get it done by tonight, you write him up and we may be firing him. So I gave him the warning, and we went through the day, and this is afternoon actually, because we all got out of school, and there's a lot of shoppers coming in for groceries, right? And we have two women who are the checkers that manage the check stands. And they were wonderful ladies, very personable, great, and we really liked them. But they're very friendly to the customers, so they talk a lot while they were checking out. And my entire stocking crew could outperform them on the register just because we didn't slow down when we talked. We were trying to be friendly, but we were in a hurry to get back. We had a mission, and that mission was we needed to get stock put up, back stock put up, new freight put up. So whenever we had to fill in during the rush, there was a problem. We out-checked them, so everybody would move their lines and come on over. And we would out-check the professional checkers. And it's not that it was women versus men. We had a few guys who were full-time checkers who had the same problem. They were more customer service oriented, more friendly, and therefore they engaged more, and so their speed and productivity in checking was impacted. So we have to come to terms with a couple things here. One is location. You know, we've heard in business, location, location, location. First of all, if your person isn't located where they're usually called to, there's going to be a problem. Philip had a problem. Philip would be over there in the cookie aisle and was constantly being called to check stand 3 because he was the next in line to be used when they got overrun. And of course, the scenario I just talked about is the faster Philip would check, the more the line would get, and the longer it would take him to get back to the cookie aisle. And often by the time he got back to the cookie aisle, he'd get another call. So he could not be in the same location to put stock up and check at the same time. Are you kind of getting the picture of what the problem is with Philip? Okay. So trying to break the laws of time and space, and it's insanity for us to expect people to operate outside reality. There's just limitations. So, of course, Philip didn't get things done, and I realized what the problem was, and we were short-handed for stockers, so I couldn't pull anybody off. Now, management the next day wanted me to, fire Philip since I had warned him, and unfortunately, our district manager happened to be there at the same time. So I said, before we do that, let's go down, and I want you guys to show Philip how to stock cookies fast enough to get it done. And so, of course, these guys are well-trained stockers. They grew up in the system. They weren't guys who got the job handed to them, so they knew how to stock. And so they started to do it and showing him. And I said, oh, we forgot one important thing. Would you come over here to check stand 3? So they walked over to check stand 3, and I said, you've got to show him how to do it from this location. Well, like some choice words that I won't repeat, but something about my back end being smart. Anyway, they said, no, this is the reality. And so I took and showed them the receipts that he had out-checked 2 checkers. And he had been doing that for the last 2 days. So what I said is that Philip will get it done today. And I went to the checkers and said, when you call Philip, I'm the one that's going to show up. And I'm not going to check stand 3. I'll be going to 5, which is the drawer I handle. And I mean, I was all day long running back and forth, checking people out. But Philip got the cookies done. Isn't that amazing? Here's one of the problems that we want us to address today. which is killing many businesses and customer relationship. You're going to have to get real about your concerns of what is the mission, what is the roles, and what is the realities. See, customer service is, in everybody's mind that's sane and understand it, the most important thing we can offer. Of course, nowadays that doesn't seem to be something that's really preached, taught, or done in most companies. But back then it was. And it's still a mantra that we throw out. We give it a lot of lip service, customer service. Well, is that going to work well for the mission of the individual, their role, and the realities that they have to address? I went into our local grocery store in another town many years later to get my wife lunch at the deli. And the two ladies there looked at me sheepishly and put their heads back down and kept working on stuff. And I'm waiting. And I'm waiting. And I said, hi. I barely got a nod. And they're working on preparatory stuff. And finally, after about 15 minutes, I realized what the problem was. I went to the manager's office and said, hey, can I ask you a question? Yeah. How long ago did you just chew the ladies out over there in the food court about productivity and getting productivity done? They tell you that? No. Well, how do you know? Because they can't offer me customer service, because right now the only thing in their brain is getting productive and getting this stuff done, because you just chewed them out that they weren't getting enough things done. And then I explained to them, I'm running out of time to get my wife lunch. Her lunch hour is going to be over by the time I get what I came for. He shook his head and said, you really understand this? I said, yes, I've worked for your company and we teach. I'd love to be able to be the one that could teach your company how to separate productivity people from customer service people. And if all of us are going to be involved in customer service, we have to accept that productivity will take a hit. That has to be factored in. Yes, we need to teach our people how to be friendly, how to have customer service, and how to get what they need to get done as best as possible. But we need to understand the role that they have, the mission that they're doing, along with the mission of the company. And we may have to say, you're just productivity, and point them to the right person or call somebody. But customer service can't suffer, so we got to have customer service people, and we got to give a little bit of space and grace for productivity people who get pulled in to customer service, because it will interfere, just as we've all seen. After the store managers with Phillips issue, seeing the difference of how fast the guys were out checking the ladies, they chewed on the ladies. Guess what? The ladies weren't talkative to people, and they checked faster than ever before, and people went away saying, wow, everybody's rude here and there's no friendliness anymore. And one of our mottos were we were a friendly place. So they had to readjust their thinking, because not everybody has the same mission. If the mission is productivity, then customer service will suffer. If the mission is customer service, productivity might take a hit, and you're going to have to put that in to your timeline and time management. That's not easy for some people to hear. I get that. I understand that. But we've been working many years with various companies to try to overcome these kind of things, like the problems with Philip. And it's amazing once we address it with reality and we come up with good game plans, and we're not just pounding the table and screaming and yelling that we don't want to hear excuses. Come on, you're going to have to listen to the real reasons why things don't happen. When you do the other, you've shut off your team, the synergy's gone, and pretty soon you're going to be totally frustrated, as will they, and both productivity and customer service will fail miserably. This is Doc Ben, the Synergy Doc, hoping that this little excerpt, this little tip, will help you in many days to come. Check us out. Contact us, and we're willing to help you. Have a great day.